we're spread out quite far. Social distancing. Hi there, my name's Cindy Davis. I am the Content Director for AV Technology, and welcome to Hidden Gems.
Hi there, folks. I am Rachel Bradshaw. I'm the VP of Castor Communications, and we're a boutique PR firm that used to be based out of Rhode Island, but is now officially bi-coastal.
I'm Ben Thomas. I'm one of the hosts for Avixa TV and the Senior Director of Publishing for a B2B publisher called MarketScale.
So together we've gone around, well, we've all seen lots and lots of stuff and not enough yet, right? So I'm sure there's plenty of hidden gems that we'll find those tomorrow. So I want to start off and ask you, Ben, what have you seen that you've have just been really amazed by?
Yeah, well, I think it's important to level set here at the beginning, right? This isn't the standard InfoComm, right? So there's a lot of stuff maybe that was released last year that we're seeing as an industry for the first time, but also we're seeing new applications for maybe some pre-existing products. So I think that you'll see some of the hidden gems that we have are actually new applications for some of those products that may have been out for a few years.
I agree, Rachel.
Yeah, I think that's right. Like there's a lot of things that when you read the press release, it doesn't really have the same impact as actually seeing the device in action. And some of the, I think, really hot trends for the show, which I know we're going to talk about in a minute, the proof is really in the pudding. You can read about what it does, but when you actually see how some of these technologies are interacting with people in the real world, then you know what's real, what's worth adopting, what's worth integrating into your projects.
Yep. And as I've been going around, one of the things, and this is going to it might seem odd, but I think it's a hidden gem within a big company. Yesterday, I was at the Sennheiser booth, and I saw their EWDX, pretty amazing wireless microphone system. And they're telling me about all the amazing benefits of it. And then he shows me this little e-ink display on each microphone. So there's no more labeling.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And you know what? It just seemed like I think I crushed him because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. That's such a really cool benefit. And amazing technology, of course, that goes behind this product, but that little e-ink so that you can relabel, just hundreds of microphones and on the fly. I thought that was pretty cool.
I love these technologies, and you see a lot of them around the show floor that are two technologies that have existed for a long time, e-ink, wireless microphones, but somebody has the brilliant idea to put them together and really solve a problem.
Right.
One of the technologies that I've been hearing about is the grid flooring solution at Free Axes. This is, it's a raised floor, right? We're not reinventing the wheel here, just very low profile. But what they've done is they've paired it with an app so that you can map out where all of your cable runs are beneath that raised floor. And if you've got a room like a flex space classroom or a conference room where you're moving the positions of the furniture and the gear all the time, then you always have a live record of where your cables are.
That's a good idea.
And so it makes it much easier to manage cables in a space like that. It's a brilliant combination of two existing ideas to make something totally new.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a great segue into my my next point. So the one of the hidden gems that really stood out to me is a company called Modus VR. They're just all the way down there. If you get a chance to stop by, go see them. What they've done is they've merged VR technology and CAD technology. So now you're able to actually do real-time visualization from the perspective of your users, from the perspective of the guest participants, and being able to map things like waveforms and in real time see the size of what a desk might look like or what a display might look like. And that's something that I know from an integrator's perspective, that's going to cut the design time down significantly, right? So you start talking about billable hours, maybe let's repurpose them, worrying about some supply chain stuff. But I think that's one of the more exciting trends that I've seen specifically today that actually is legitimately game-changing for our industry.
That was on my list as well, and I had the Modus as a service.
There you go.
Part on the list because that's really important. I think when you're selling, this is a VR technology, everybody's like, oh my gosh, how many headsets do I need to buy, and how much is this going to cost?
Yeah.
And the cost, for these things can be just astronomical. So Modus has added to that because it's really such a really cool service. And so now there's no initial outlay for the hardware either. So I think they've really upped the game there.
Yeah, I think that we're seeing a lot of solutions at some really compelling price points too. Like the industry knows that people have been hurting, and they're looking for ways to help make the best technology in the industry really accessible for all projects. Like some examples of this I've seen, and this ties into one of the other trends that I know we've all been seeing across the board, is at the PTZ Optics booth, they're showing their new Simple Track Lite product, which is a lecture capture PTZ camera. It does auto tracking, and it does it for under $1,600. There are a lot of auto tracking solutions out there right now. It seems to be a space where everybody's trying to play. That for like large spaces with a full 12x zoom for under $1,600, that's really compelling.
We talk about some of those large spaces, and one of the companies that jumped out to me too is a relative newcomer, and they're actually in the new MSG Sphere that's being built. Seems like across the street, but it's probably about 1.5 miles away. A company called Holoplot. They are basically an auto beaming technology manufacturer. So what they've done is they've taken the traditional dead hang speaker array and kind of put it into a box. And you're able to beam, whether it's a different language, whether it's a different feed. Maybe I'm at a church and I have a Spanish translation, I have an English translation, or even a French. That's some really interesting applications, I think, for that product specifically. At the MSG Sphere, they're actually using it to beam different atmospheric effects. And if you'd had a chance to go to the Illuminarium down here in Vegas, you'll have a chance to see that in action. And it's something that is kind of earth-shattering when you get to see it, because we've invested so long, and I think the video and the projection side that we have skipped a little bit of the innovation in audio, and they've brought it back a little bit to where it's now almost at the forefront, which is exciting.
Nice. So kind of on a slightly different track, Encaption 5, because we're all putting so much video content out there now, whether it's it's this or a quick quick video chat that we're just kind of all pumping out there. But the truth is, it's just video, and it can't be. It's not accessible. So for one, it's not SEO. It's not good for SEO. But the truth is, you can't. People who are hearing challenged or can't hear the video. So, this in-caption product is a software-defined platform to add closed or open captions quickly for live and pre-recorded content, and for a really good price. So I think that's just such a great solution, because we really need to start thinking about all the video content that we're putting out there and caption that. And I think that's a really important.
I have another ADA one on my list, or another accessibility product on my list, and this is the lowest of low tech. You guys are going to be shocked that I even have this, but I have a lot of contacts in the AV technology manager world, and all of them have said, "Have you seen this thing? It's brilliant. It has solved a major problem for me." So at Heckler, which is over here in booth 2053, they have these custom-sized foam panels. They're just foam, you guys. The technology here is foam. But it's designed to be mounted directly below your display screen. So if you're doing a large-scale digital signage deployment across your campus, and you need to make sure that the displays that you're placing on those walls are ADA compliant, and that you're making them safe for people who are visually impaired, the solution in the past has been to put furniture underneath them, like to install a credenza there. That's a bit of a brute force solution. And so Heckler has, I think, really cleverly and elegantly designed this very modern, sleek-looking, very inexpensive phone panel that can just mount directly beneath your display and make it ADA compliant.
It'd be nice for all products to really have that baked into part of their product roadmap.
Speaking of kind of equity, accessibility, and compliance, one of the things that's jumped out is actually right over there, the new Reva booth. They've got a technology that they utilize called the microphone mist technology. And what it does is it basically creates essentially false microphones in the room, right? Their technology says, okay, here's point A in the room, here's point B, let's act as if there's a microphone here from a pickup perspective. But what that does is that actually makes everybody in the room really able to be heard, right? And that's important. And you talk about not only being heard, but being seen. And one of the things that jumped out was the Jabra Panicast. It's a true 180 degree display, or sorry, 180 degree camera that really showcases the space, right? Most of the installations that we're doing for UCC and connected collaboration are retrofits, right? We're not doing them in new builds. So most of the time it's old office buildings. Most of the time we're having to deal with terrible acoustics. So it's nice to be able to have some of those products like the new Reva product and the Jabra product to really help kind of bring some of those, we'll call them less than optimized spaces into the digital world.
Oh yeah, I think equity of participation is maybe the biggest trend I've seen at this year's show. That might be because I'm spending so much time in West Hall where the collaboration hall is, but I've seen it everywhere.
But even the display manufacturers have that. I mean, there's a lot of all-in-one products now. Big video walls that are all-in-one, and they're portable. So, or movable. I wouldn't say quite portable, but you can move them around. So I think that is a big trend, and I agree with the Nereva and the Jabra products. Really outstanding products. That if you haven't gone to see them, definitely go see them. And what's interesting, I think this is a hidden gem in just about everybody's booth. Everyone has a camera. Everyone has an audio solution now that you wouldn't necessarily have known them to have, and they're upping the game. So it's not like they're just packing in, cheap camera. I mean, we're in the industry, right? So there's been a lot of partnerships going on. So you'll see the Jabra camera. It was in. Oh, I can't remember. I'm sorry. It was in one of the. I think it was Epson. It was Epson's booth.
It was definitely in the Exertis Almo booth.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it was there, but I think it was in the Epson booth because it's so a trend. And I'm sorry, not hidden gems right now, but that whole the equity, making sure that people are, when you're in a meeting, a remote meeting, that you really feel as much as possible as you're there. Now remember 5-10 years ago, those meetings, those telepresence rooms were $600,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
And nobody has to feel like an afterthought anymore.
No.
I do love that you have the full breadth of sort of quality points across the show. Like you go to, for instance, the Crestron booth, and they've got the Sightline solution there, which is 7 cameras in a room, and really makes each person, whenever they're speaking, the star of that meeting. And then you have all the way back down to like really clever, compact plug-and-play solutions, like the new video conferencing soundbar in the Vanco booth, which is just like one USB-C connection, and you instantly, without any software or programming whatsoever, have a camera that's going to auto frame, again, a small room, but it depends on what your application is. Every application now can demand equity of participation for people on the far end and on the near end.
Well, you bring up a great point too, right? We talk about the rooms, and I think that there's been a reinvestment in the actual furniture and hardware side, right? I had a chance to see Salamander Designs today and Spectrum Furniture, and Salamander specifically, what they've done is they've created a trapezoidal table, right? So now we talk about auto framing cameras, and everybody is now in frame in the shot because of the way that it's set up. But not only that, the matte finish on the surface is optimized to reflect light to light the faces, right? So we've moved kind of into this world where the furniture is now very much part of the installation, not only from a power and distribution standpoint, kind of as it has been, but actually as almost a participant, almost as an equal participant in the meetings.
Yep, I think that's true from the live events perspective too. I was over at the QuestX booth earlier today and looking at their solutions for modular scenic design, and I was talking to them about event technology, and they said, well, we don't necessarily think of ourselves as an event technology company. We support event technology, but as we were talking, it became clear it's all part of it, right? The scenic is integral to the event technology. It has to be tied in with the acoustics, the lighting, the video. These things all have to play together from the very beginning in order to achieve the best possible aesthetic effect in the final execution.
Yep.
And to your point with furniture, I absolutely agree. The Salamander Designs products are really stunning also. And if you go over to the Legrand booth, I mean, they're really thinking about, whether it's Middle Atlantic or Chief, and their mounts now for displays are felt. They have felt on them, because you're just adding before you're just adding hard surfaces to a room, right? So now they've tamped those down with Bell, and it seems like, well, gee, why didn't we do this before? But it's what a great idea, right?
Yeah, it is. Okay. Well, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't at least bring up probably my favorite fun technology from the show is Hypervision. So they are a hologram manufacturer. I don't know how you manufacture holograms, whatever. They make holograms, and it's really cool. I had a chance to actually create a hologram of myself and interact with it in real time, and it was the weirdest thing I've ever done in my life. But it was a lot of fun, and if you haven't had a chance to go check it out, go look at it. Holograms aren't going away anytime soon, right? It's a technology that kind of has been on the outside ever since Star Wars came out, and people are trying to figure out how to do it. But we've reached a point now where holograms actually are going to be significant parts of not only our meetings, but our live events and our experiential entertainment moving forward.
Well, in fact, I went to ISC in Barcelona a few weeks ago, and they had the president of ISC. Did you see it?
Mike Blackman.
Yeah, Mike Blackman. He was greeting everyone in several places, with that product. So it was really interesting. Great to see. Okay, I've got a really teeny one. Okay, not smaller than the e-ink. All right, at the Atlas IED booth. All excited about all the different products. And they show me this weird little one. It's called the SHS 3T2 HD speaker.
Catchy.
And I know, but what it does, it's this curved profile speaker, small curved profile, for all those hard to reach places. And it's like, you know what? I love solutions that's like, this is, so simple. It's like, what? It's a curved speaker. Well, you know what? You need that. All those places where you can't put in a speaker because of the depth or whatever, it's just this very shallow curved speaker. It does the job.
That is smart.
Well, we got to shout them out. They're right over there. Big shout out to Gina and Michael over there
Those
at
guys,
the Atlas
hey,
IED team. I don't know if they can hear us.
It's really pretty
but
cool.
Hopefully.
I have one that is both super hidden and you can't miss it. Are you ready for this? So it's super hidden insofar as they don't actually have a booth here. They're present in a lot of booths. Like you can find them in Crestron, Mimo, Peerless, Sharp NEC, and Philips. But you can't miss it in terms of when you walk into the West Hall and you see that massive video wall, biggest video wall in any convention center in the United States. It's there. You go to any meeting room signage, it's there. You go to the Loop, you see the signage down there, it's there. I think about this because in a previous life, I was an event organizer, and I must have cleared a square mile of Brazilian rainforest every year with the number of cardboard signs that we custom made for each show. And if you look around the show, you'll notice that you don't see as much of that at this year's show, and yet it's still easy to get around. You still know where everything is. And that's in part because as part of the refurbishment of the West Hall and when they were redoing the Las Vegas Convention Center, Intel, 22 Miles, and Samsung all worked together to do this incredible digital signage implementation that is all run on a single CMS 22 Miles background, content management background, so it's all unified. And then all of a sudden, this thing that I know as an event organizer used to be very expensive and difficult to do, which is to have networked signage that would be accurate up to the date and that you could update in real time, all of a sudden it's easy.
Isn't that great?
And the information is right everywhere, and we can be like a heck of a lot greener in our show production.
Yep. And it's funny, I think we see it all the time at the shows, right? And we start to like, oh yeah, cool, Power Software, or whoever's advertising for it. But 22 Miles, they're making, and Samsung, they're making that happen, and it's becoming ubiquitous, which is great because the price is coming down. The technology has made it so that it's so much easier to do.
Oh yeah, it is so much easier to make those changes. Like it's low code, it's no code. Like you don't have to be a programmer anymore to make this happen for yourself.
Ben, I know you're burning with others. What?
Yeah, I got one more. I got to shout them out. They're sort of an up and comer, a company called Pixel Flex. They started in my neck of the woods in the live event side, and they've kind of made a pivot into jumping into the enterprise world. So love seeing what they had here. Love seeing all the DV LED products really across the board here. There's a million of them. If you haven't been over to North, highly recommend Lots and lots of cool stuff over there as well. But other than that, I think that's it.
And we're out of time. But
Oh my gosh,
Look at that.
I
Fast
know,
20 minutes.
I know. So share the rest of your hidden gems online, on Twitter, on the social feeds, because it's fun.
AV Tweeps.
Yep.
Hashtag.
If I can, I'll shout out the AV Super Friends at AV Super Friends on Twitter are doing a Hidden Gems tour that are going to hit a lot of these booths tomorrow morning.
Cool.
So if you will DM at AV Super Friends, you can tag along on their tour and they will show you many of the products that we just mentioned.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys.